Good afternoon. It is the post-match reaction from American Scouser TV. A nervy, tight, but ultimately victorious game against Burnley, 3-1. It's a Muchin special on his birthday, and no more appropriate score. I'm joined by Brian today. Brian, how are you after that?
It was nervy, but glad for the 3 points.
It was yet again a game of two halves. We spotted Burnley a half in the first one. Just didn't look connected in any way, shape, or form. Kelleher you needed him to be an Allison replica today a few times. We lost Trent at half time. Maybe he wasn't fully fit, and that maybe have affected the way he was playing. I mean, he played some fantastic passes, but possibly his mobility wasn't what we would hope it would be. But Endo came in to start the game and was absolutely phenomenal throughout it. Nunes gets his goal, but despite every accusation that gets thrown at us on the Discord channel, we actually want him to do well, and we do like 9 out of 10 of the things that he does. But he scores a fantastically difficult header that any striker or defender in a corner would be happy to do. But then misses that 1v1 where he hits it straight at the goalkeeper. The tale of two cities when it comes to Darwin Núñez. But overall, the performance is not what matters at this point, is it, Brian? We just need those 3 points until the end of March.
I mean, all we need to do is just to keep up right now with City. I mean, keep ourselves level with City. I know they still have their game in hand right there, but I mean, all we can do is win out. I mean, I know Akasi was talking about this morning right there. These next string of matches before we get to City are all must-win matches. I mean, so we can get them and beat City, and then then it's in our hands for the most part after that. But like you said right there, it was nervy in the first half. I mean, but pulling the 3 points out right there, I thought we were a stronger side for them, except for like the beginning half right there, when we were just constantly absorbing pressure unnecessarily.
I mean, it was an unusual thing. Like, it was, we're at home, we're chasing the league, and to be fair, they're chasing points to get out of relegation, but we looked like the away team almost for the first 10-15 minutes, didn't we?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I watched a lot of it when I was watching. I mean, we constantly lost the ball in the midfield throughout like the first opening 25 minutes. I mean, where we couldn't keep a hold of the ball. I mean, McAllister came in there and had issues. Jones came in there and had issues. I thought the Endo right there was actually kind of a bright spot right there in there, because I thought he held some of the stuff together. But even like with the comments that just scored right there, I was waiting for them, like you said right there, to score first. But the way we were pissing around with the ball, and and it was I felt that we grew into the game, but it's kind of like the same thing that happens with a lot of these matches right there. Those first like 30 minutes, we come out we're like playing like we're like we're disjointed, and it's the first time it's like a pickup match right there. Like these guys don't do this stuff on the training pitch throughout the week. And I mean, I don't know, it was frustrating, but again, right there, I don't want to be negative, because how how people are kind of thinking that we go negative about stuff. I think there were a lot of positive points in this match, but again, we just got to figure out how to go start off on the match right there and on front forward, instead of actually going there and stepping back and actually get and absorbing pressure consistently.
I mean, look, you don't want to talk about the negatives, but at the same time, when we lose, if we don't talk about the positives, then the show is 5 seconds long. We lost. Good night. So we have to talk about something. But let's talk about positives. Endo, I've been a big fan of his from the start. He took a few games to get going, but he's rapidly becoming vital to how that midfield works, isn't he?
I mean, it shows what this side is with the 6. I mean, how essential it is to have that holding midfielder for our gameplay. I mean, we saw like kind of like the early iterations aside when we had Fabinho and how we played. I mean, and we haven't changed our tactics. We're still that same side that plays that same way. And losing him, and we tried Maka in that spot right there. Maka's not a number 6. I mean, and it shows right there. Yeah, he grew into it a little bit more and made it part of his game. But that's not him. I mean, Endo is a 6. That's his role. He understands his role, and he breaks up play. He goes there and sets up play. I mean, which is all the roles you need for a number 6, and I think that's what is the win of having him. Until we go there, until we get this like superstar number 6 that we keep on talking about for every season. Every season right there. This Endo's it right now. I mean, until we come to that point of saying that Endo's past his prime.
I mean, people talk about superstar number 6s, but there's no superstar number 6s when you come down to it. They are almost always the most basic of player who do the simple things well, and then they become the superstar because they're the most basic player and they do the simple things well. McAllister often, as in that role, plays it like Gerrard played, I think, sometimes under Brendan Rodgers, where he's a creative player and wants to create, but he has, in the back of his head, he has a responsibility to do a certain amount of things. So it doesn't quite work out all the time. Whereas Endo seems to just, he knows what his job is and he just goes out and does his job. And I don't think it's no surprise that at least 2 of the goals came from his interventions of winning the ball back. So are we stupid and foolish for waiting for this superstar number 6? And maybe just get somebody who can do the job, who's maybe younger and fitter than Endo, so we can get them for longer.
I mean, I think that's kind of what we were pushing for Lavia in a way right there, was to have that player right there who, that we're going to that will grow into the role. And I think that since that didn't materialize right there, that's why Endo came in that spot. But again, Endo's consistent, and having a consistent player right there throughout that just does his job right there, like you said right there, can beat any world beaters. I mean, you see all with Calcedo. I mean, with all the amount of money that was spent on him as being this revelation, he's really been a suspect part to that Chelsea side, and that's why they sit at mid-table.
Temujin, a happy birthday present for you. A Temujin special. It's like they planned it, isn't it?
I know, man. It's like perfect. I was begging for it, honestly, when it was 2-1. I'm like, just give me the Temujin special and let's go home. But because it did get, I don't know, it was scary at times, but good win overall, some good performances. I thought, Endo, Jones, Elliott, some really good performances out there. And it was scary. It took a long time to get into the game. And I don't know what the reason for that is. I don't know if it's because we all said this is a great game to kind of do, go to town, and maybe they came out like that as well. It took 20, 25 minutes, it felt like, to actually start getting into the game. But 3 points, good result at the end. Probably a bit more painful than we would like it to be. But honestly, even in the first, I thought the score could have been a lot higher. But at the same time, I'm sure, Kazi is here. He'll talk about it now. If it wasn't for Keller, it could have been worse as well. So,
Kazi, before we get into that part of things, is it possible, because we talked about the amount of time we have in between the games for the next 2 weeks or so, and it's great for helping players recover, but sometimes mentally having that game every 3 days keeps you in tune with what you need to do. And sometimes a longer break can make you, maybe a little bit complacent, do you think?
Yes, in terms of, I think, fluidity and stuff like that. But I think this Liverpool team is a team who's destined for breaks. We need them as much as we can get. We go deep in, especially this year, on all the competitions. There's also a part of this where you don't think that the other players want their players back, want their lads back. You don't think they're going to be so happy when Szoboszlai's back on the pitch and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And Mo Salah can get another week into him, do you know what I mean? And then he can play against Brentford. So there's a part of that. Listen, I thought Liverpool were actually quite good today. I want to give credit to Burnley, to be honest. For the first 15 minutes, I thought they were excellent. I thought Burnley were really good, more than Liverpool were bad. I'd say Burnley were more, better than Liverpool were bad. There's definitely a balance that Liverpool could have done better, and we started slowly. But Burnley was still really good. you know, I kind of put it in the chat that we had quite a lot of spare parts out there, really. When you look, Trent hasn't had much football, Robertson hasn't had much football, Kwanzaa, Endo hasn't been around, but yes, he's played, Kelleher. So for Liverpool to keep doing what they're doing, mate, it is insane. Really, it really is insane, considering the numbers we have out. Thought Kelleher was great. I really did. I thought his 2 saves. The one in the first half went under the radar a little bit when the striker does Van Dijk and he does them all ends up. That's a really good save, you know. It's a super good save. He's out there really quickly, really good. You know, Kwanzaa was good. Endo, excellent. Provided the balance that we needed. In these games, we've missed him. We really have. Even though we have won the games that he's gone, I just think we've missed him just for sheer balance, never mind numbers. So, loads of positives there today. Their goal's just a great goal. Hold your hands up, whatever. It's football, isn't it? Fucking hell, he put a great cross in, he hits a great header, and it goes in the whatever. It's footy.
You guys think they came out like that, knowing, you know, we talked about it in the pre-match, right? Ellison is not there, so they're like, you know, hey, there's no Ellison. The right-hand side is shining shaky. Young Kwanzaa. It almost gave, I thought, Burnley. Normally, you would expect Burnley to start a bit more timid and pick their moments. I almost felt like that kind of like boosted them a little bit and started a bit more confident than you would expect them to going away to Anfield.
What I said before you guys came on with Brian was that Burnley started off like the home team and we started off like the away team almost. Because if it was me, I would have looked at Trafford and said we have to be hitting him hard, fast, and early to see what he's made of. And they did the exact exact thing to us. Good tactics on their part, but he gets some stick sometimes, as all the some of our players do, for deficiencies. But Queevy and Kelleher did what we would expect Alisson to do today in those situations. And if it wasn't for that, had we had maybe Adrian in goal, who knows how that game would have ended up by the end of the first half.
Adrian getting sniped out of nowhere, I swear, man.
The Kelleher one, mate, right? And it's frustrating because I've mentioned this before on previous podcasts. You're comparing him to the best. He's replacing the best. There's not one who's close to him. There's no keeper in the world. You can argue Courtois, he's injured, who's close to him. He's that like level above all other goalies. Kelleher is a solid Premier League goalkeeper, but he's just not at Alisson's level. But no one is. Every time fucking something happens to the poor kid, we all go, well, Ali would have done this and Ali would have... Stop it. Just stop. Judge that on what you see. Like, it's insane. Like, sometimes we do it, we'll go, well, Salah'll do that. Well, yes, Salah's the best right winger in the world. Like, it just is what it is. So, let's give the lad a break, man. Give him a break and let's give him credit. He's won Liverpool a game there, or at least got us something with his 2 massive saves. And I thought, by the way, his passing was really good. Really good. A few of them he was under pressure, especially second half. I thought he was really good.
Yeah, one thing he doesn't do is wait as much as Alisson does, right?
Yeah.
Like for the press to come. So it's a bit less scary to watch. Obviously, you know, it doesn't bring the guys as closer. But yeah, I thought that was one thing that, you know, most people maybe not notice, but I thought he was great in build up and control. And, you know, and you can see the boys are very comfortable passing it back to him. Sometimes when you have the backup goalie, everybody's like, especially when they're going to play with their feet. You can tell that, you know, there's full confidence in him because they did keep feeding him the ball to kind of like recycle things.
I think, Cosy, you said this more or less before, but Kelleher is somebody else's Alisson. He's some other club's Alisson Becker, and it's just unfortunate that he's at the club when Alisson Becker is at the club, and he should probably give Brendan Rodgers a call and go up to Celtic and be in the Champions League every year. It'd be great for me as an Ireland fan.
Listen, yeah, of course. But if you look around the league, I'd argue Kelleher's in the top 12 keepers in the league. I'd argue that 10, 14 keepers in the league. If you look at the bottom 6, mate, I don't rate like Fotheringham, stuff like that. I think he's better than Fotheringham at Sheffield United. I don't really rate Kaminsky out of Luton. I think he's okay. I think he's a solid, okay goalkeeper. But I'd have Kelleher over them. So that's the level you're talking. He's just replacing that guy, which is harsh to compare him to a little bit. It's a bit like the Matip Van Dijk argument. When Van Dijk got all the praise and Matip was just, but we all knew as fans that Matip was excellent. Yeah. So it's a bit like that as well, do you know what I mean? Because you are comparing him to Van Dijk getting all the praise. So I just feel like, and also that might be his last game till the cup final. And what a great game for me from walk off there going, I've really contributed there today. I've really, you know what I mean, made some good saves. Van Dijk's telling me I'm fucking amazing. And he's got a cup final in 2 weeks. So fucking good luck to him.
But Keller's easily a 25 mil keeper right there, which you're at to go there and find someone who's willing to pay that kind of price, or a buyback or something like that.
You're 1,000% correct, mate. Burnley just paid 20 million for Trafford in the summer.
Yeah.
Keller's a better keeper than Trafford.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. So you're right. He's 25, 30 million pound all day.
Tabuchin, let's jump ahead to the halftime change. Trent off a halftime. The speculation, I think, it's probably an injury. If not, maybe he was ill as well, but not as ill as the other two. But Elliott coming on changed the complexion of the game, didn't he? There was just something a lot more balanced about how we were playing. Probably mainly because Jones played the right back position like a right back, and probably because he was nervous to do anything else. But it gave us the width and it gave us the balance on that side that we didn't have in the first half. But it also then allowed the two midfielders to play like midfielders rather than try to fit themselves around where Trent was playing midfield. But it was, number one, it was a good change on the defensive side, but it was a great change to be able to put Harvey Elliott on the field, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we were assuming his injury, which is kind of concerning, by the way, because we brought back everybody early. Because the same thing happened with Szoboszlai, and say now with Trent, if it's an injury thing, we possibly brought these guys back a bit too early. So that's slightly concerning. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good change. I was like, yeah, it's either an injury or he's been watching the morning show, one or the other. But yes, that makes it. You look at the first half, and I think I put this on Discord as well. We are trying to make, when we shove Trent in the middle next to McAllister, you kind of not next to Endo. You're taking away Endo in the build-up. You're taking away Trent in the build-up because it's just like a crowded mess in the center of the field, and Kwanzaa is wide open. So all the build-up had to come from Kwanzaa. And as great as that kid is, and sometimes he can thread that ball, it's an unnecessary kind of like a tactic to make him the creator. I think when you get an actual right back, and honestly, Trent put in some great balls, and all of those came when he was out wide. So I honestly do not see any benefits of keep shoving him towards the middle. I know this is kind of like my agenda, but I figured like whenever it's proven, I want to kind of like harp on it more. But I think when you have a right back, and kudos to Jones, by the way, because I thought he did really, really well for a midfielder playing right back. Yeah. And then Elliott comes in. The thing that changes in the game is obviously Elliott's creativity and like work and stuff like that, but you get width. You get width on the right-hand side as well as the left-hand side. So that creates more space for everybody else. And yeah, Elliott was excellent, but if you see where the goals came from, it's because there's width over there. And he goes out wide in both cases and gets the ball in. So that's like the biggest thing. And, I mean, we were talking about it, I think we were talking about how Jones and Elliott knowing the system and being trusted to play different positions, which makes it a bigger head scratcher now that we started Gravenberg against Arsenal on that side when Elliott was there. Elliott almost played like an angry man today because I'm sure he was shocked that he didn't get the look on that game too.
Brian, we talk about like a little bit of the inexperience of Jones playing at right back. Although I think he's done it before, if I remember correctly. When he just burst into the team, I think he's been thrown out there.
Yeah, against Leicester in the League Cup.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
we give him the captain's armband, and Klopp said the way I convinced him. And he went, "No," he said, "I'll give you can be the captain." He went, "All right then."
But for Brian, one thing that struck me, we talked about the amount of space that Kwanzaa had, and so he featured a lot more than he probably would expect him to. But he as many good things as he did, he also did show that he is still a young player and needs a bit more experience, doesn't he, at the back?
Oh, I thought his the tackle that he put in right there, that I think he got the yellow card for, was definitely a little bit to me right there. What showed a little bit more inexperience. I know he had to go there and do something because he was getting ran into, but it seemed like it was a little bit more of a mistimed tackle. And I think that that's things that come up with his experience. I mean, he's a kid, and it looks like he was kind of a couple times during the second half. He got done in like twice. I mean, where we probably should have got scored on both those times right there. But for the luck of poor shooting boots for Burnley's side right there at the moment. I mean, because Because I mean, easily Fofana should have came there and had a goal, had one of those goals. I mean, that's in my opinion. But again, he's going to learn this, and he's learning from the best right next to him. So so why not go there and give the kid the time? I mean, right now, I think that after this match, if Gomez is straight, Gomez is probably going to go right back into that spot. I mean, or Konate is going to, one of those two are going to go right back in, and then Kwanzaa is going to go right back to the bench right there. But he should definitely go out there and probably go out there and play him and keep on playing him in the bench, or throw him in some U21 matches right there, just so he can go out there and get some time. And keep on playing. It's the only way he's going to get better.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Kwanzaa thing's interesting. Like, first of all, the manager doesn't have a choice today, and it's probably his worst ever game. and I still think he played okay.
And he still played okay.
I thought he played well.
I thought he has a 6 out of 10. He makes a few mistakes. The missed time challenge, I have no issue with that yellow card because he's been done. So I'd rather you take your hand down. There's always that famous thing when for people who don't play the game young as well, soccer, you always get told only the ball or the man can go through. Both can't go at the same time. So you pick which one's going through. So it's like, and you know what I mean? So I have no issue with that. It was just, again, it's probably his worst game, but I still think he played absolutely fine. Konate's back next week. We don't know how bad Gomez is. The flu is for Gomez. So it's a nice balance, mate. But listen, again, he's played himself into a position where he's a viable option, and that's fair play. It's a bit like the Bradley thing. Fair fucks to them. Because both of the kids, we all thought these won't play for Liverpool. They'll come in for do bits and bobs, and then we'll get all the players back, and that's it. But no, they've actually took their opportunity and now viable options for Liverpool. And I can't speak highly of both of them. Bradley and Kwanzaa are fucking fantastic, brilliant.
That's interesting, by the way. Like, if Bradley and Gomez are both back,
yeah,
who plays right back? Because you do have, that's gonna be an interesting choice. Or if Gomez goes to center back, or does by default Gomez become the bench guy because he can come in for center back and for right back, and for left back if need be.
I think he does Gomez.
I think I'm for Bradley. He's offering us more.
Is he?
Yeah, I'm with Bradley. I think that Gomez, it depends on who you're playing, because Gomez is a more defensive-minded player, and I think that he stays back a little bit more right there. So for instance, right there, if you're having Kwanzaa right there, I'd rather have Gomez there, Gomez play right there. But if you're having Konate, I would much rather go out there and have Connor Bradley play right there, because you're going to have the runs there and runs toward the box, and he's more dynamic than Gomez ever has been. I mean,
it's a tough one, though, isn't it? Because I think the manager does Gomez, because I just think of his experience alone, he'll do Gomez. But I think we want Bradley, because we're the fans and we know what he can contribute, and he had his best game before, of course, his time here. So, yeah. But the other question is for Bradley now, though, if Gomez is fit, he doesn't need to rush back. If Bradley wants to take another week, he'd take another week. If Gomez is back, of course, I wouldn't feel that, bad by it. So.
See, I would do Bradley, because then if something happens, Gomez can come in for anybody. Whereas if you start Gomez at the right back, I think in terms of that, Gomez gives you a lot of options. And I would think, I'm assuming Trent's, now we're going to be more careful with that one. And it could be a blessing in disguise in some ways to bring Bradley back with Konate. And, I think that's really when we've been at our best, to be perfectly honest.
If you get Gomez and Bradley back fit, I think you can argue with Trent. You just get fit for City, all around City.
Yeah.
Just do what, you know what I mean? Or the cup final, you might do the cup final and City, and then just don't worry about the rest. Like, you're not playing Forest, you're not playing Southampton. You just, do you know what I'm saying? And you go, we're going to take your time, but for fucking City, we need you 100%. And I know people can argue all you like, but his ability on the ball, we are need him against City. His ability, some of his passes today, and as you said to me, I know what the position is the argument. He was out wild when he did these passes, and a completely fair point. It's a joke. He made 2 or 3 passes there. You don't want to Nunes. Honestly, mate, when Nunes played it to Diaz, and it was a great save by Trafford, it's a joke of a pass. It's a joke of a pass. And his ability on the ball is frightening. So he is a very high-risk, high-reward player, I call him. He's high-risk, high-reward. But
I think we're making the high risk. You know what I mean? Like, we're kind of like increasing the risk, as opposed to just putting a right center midfielder, keeping him wide. Yes, he's going to get beat defensively sometimes, but, it's just keep him wide where he's dangerous. He can put those balls in, and they're crazy. If he has time to get his head up and whip that ball in, it's dangerous every freaking time. I would hate to be a defender trying to defend those crosses. Just keep him out wide. Tell the right center midfielder, hey, man, you're probably going to have to track back a lot more than normal, and Mo will be back hopefully eventually. You're fine. I feel like we're just making it worse than it should be because you're taking him out of the position totally.
The argument is
mindsets.
I think the argument is, though, and I get what you're saying, does he score the goal he does against City, Fulham, and stuff like that? So you want to get him on the ball a bit more in and around those areas. So I understand the point, but that's where the high-risk, high-reward comes in. I think I'm with you, Tim. I'm with you, Tim, a little bit. Well, I'd just rather just commit and just say, listen, you're playing the midfield for the rest of the season, and we're playing Bradley right back. And that's what I would prefer him to do. Do you know what I mean? With no Thiago and Szoboszlai and stuff, that's what I would prefer him to do. Just go, you're playing in the 8, fuck off with this. That's fair, and I get that. But I know what you're saying. I don't know. But then also the manager's argument is, hey, we've lost 4 games since March last year or some shit. And then some of those games are kind of steward's inquiry, like the Spurs game and stuff like that. So there's all, you know what I mean? So there's a balance as well. Tough one.
Let me flip to Brian there and flip the other side. As we say, Trent has a recurrence of a hammy injury. So if we're looking at, let's say, Gomez or Bradley for right back for the near future, about 10 minutes into that second half, Andy Robertson, Brian, started to look like his old self a bit more again, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think this goes about the balance of the runs right there with between him and Trent, because one has to stay back while the other one goes up forward. But like I was saying in the comments on Discord right there, I've always seen like there's always been like a little bit of a communication breakdown between Diaz and Robertson right there. I mean, since they played right there, it doesn't seem like they're always on the same page, because like Diaz will make these runs going across there and our backtrack. And then Robertson's trying to go in the same way, and it's like they're both doing the same thing at the same time. And they're like, okay, where are we doing? It goes back to what you were making a comment on Discord, Kazi, about the press. They're not even on the same page pressing. And then, and plus, my frustration with Diaz right there, kind of to go off track a little bit, is seeing him do this constant Raheem Sterling thing where he goes in with the ball, drives in, and goes there and does a shot almost every single time. It's like almost just like predictable to watch him on the ball outside the box anymore. It's the same thing we had the complaint, but back with Sterling when he was when we had that front 3 lineup. You always saw Sterling doing the same exact thing. He does it still, even at Chelsea. I mean, but back to the thing right there, I think that with Robertson right there, Robertson was able to go there to make runs because you had a more defensive-minded player back there, with Jones actually sitting back the whole time and staying back and covering Kwanzaa in there. And you didn't see Kwanzaa as many times get ran onto. Yeah, you saw the two instances right there, but with Jones staying back and being more on the edge of the touchline, you saw that he actually came through and played a more right back role. And I'm in the solution, bandwagon with this. So I hate this inverted center back, right back thing. I think it troubles me. If we were to do this right there, then let's go ahead and come there and change our formation. Put Trent in the middle with two pivots in the back right there, and then have a full back 4, 2 pivots, and then have and then change into a front, three attacking midfields and Nunez up top, something like that. So I mean, but we got to figure something out right there, because I think that with Trent right there, that's a 60 minutes and a 45 minutes that he's done. So I mean and he still doesn't look like himself. He has the good pass range, but he doesn't look like himself.
One thing with Diaz is I don't think Diaz is on his own page, because he keeps slipping. It's almost like his mind is working one way, his legs are working another. He keeps slipping and sliding, but he tries. I mean, his efforts, similar to Nunez, create so much havoc and actually causes problems. But going back to what Kazi was saying in the beginning of the game, it's just a matter of syncing those somehow. That would make him a lot more effective. But both of them put so much effort. But I really think still that partially for definitely what Ryan is saying, you have a right back on the other side. But I think you have Elliott on the other side too. You suddenly have width on the other side. So now you have to defend that wing, which, spreads things out, leaves more space on the left for Robertson to run onto and stuff.
I genuinely don't think sometimes Diaz has any idea what he's going to do when he gets the ball. He has zero. I just think he goes. Rah!
It makes him hard to defend. Mane was the same way. Like you had no idea what he was going to do.
Yeah, I think
he's almost like the updated Latin American Mark Walters.
I mean, you know what it is, right? Do you know his goal today? I think his goal is the most Sadio Mane goal he's ever scored.
Yeah.
In front, when he's come across and he's made the correct run and he's got on the end, and I'm like, right in front of the opposite side of where he's playing. I'm like, that's the most Sadio Mane goal you've ever scored. Like, that's a clever goal for like your side to score. I think Robertson hate playing with him. Can't stand playing with him. I think he looks and goes, I missed fucking a peak Sadio Mane. And sometimes when we're off the ball, standing in front of me. Just stand in front of me for 10 yards away, just so I can see you. Like, I know where you are. I can see the number 10, and you're there. And this guy's just running on the other end. So I think he would hate playing with him. But again, going back to the Robertson point, he needs minutes, man. You forget how long he's been out for.
Yeah.
It's been out for a long time. I think it was like October or something in the international break, or September, October. So it's been a long time. And he was excellent. I think again, the last 20, I thought he was really good. Really good last 20. And he's going to be so important. We know how important he is anyway. I know how good Kostas has been. He's been excellent. What a footballer Andy Robertson is, by the way. Like, and I'm so happy he's going to get back to normal. But as soon as Diaz and him click, then you never know.
Let me we start to wrap things up, but I want to throw a question to all three of you, and I want to bring back to Jamie because I think he makes an excellent point right in the middle there. We're still not firing on all cylinders, and we're getting the rewards. And I think somebody mentioned that in the Discord channel as well. Besides Jamie, on one hand, there's just always seems to be a feeling that it's not quite clicking yet, and when it does, it'll be phenomenal. But then you start to think it might not click until Klopp's not here, and then you get all sad and teary-eyed. But is that the mark of a team that is a serious prospect to come, that we're still pulling out the wins, but yet we don't look the finished article quite yet?
I think I'll go, because I've had a lot of thinking about this, right? Maybe this just is the team. We haven't had all our players back, so it's tough. We haven't really had this full strength starting 11. And I don't think the manager knows that. So that's fair, and that's a good point. That's an argument. But maybe this is just the team. That we are just scrappy and a little bit messy and untidy because we're so used to seeing something that was so perfect in terms of the old team. And maybe this is just us now. And that's fine. Because we also have Fabinho, and people forget how good Fabinho was on his day. And we've missed him like a hole in the head, I still think, this season. But maybe this is just us. And we are just messy, and we are just a bit complacent in games, and we sometimes can go through games for 10 minutes and look like we'd never kicked the ball. And then 10 minutes later, we look like the best team in the world. So maybe that's what we just are. You know, we are blending a new team in, but the thing is, that still might be enough to get us over the line. You know, I watched City this morning, and City didn't have a shot on target until Haaland scored, and I think that was on the 70th. So, as much, and I think it was the first time in 3 years that City never had a shot on target in the first half at home. So that says it all, really. So they're also in a weird spot in terms of City as well. I get it that he best players and all that, but maybe this is just us now. Maybe we're looking for perfection. I'm not sure, but I'm excited. I really am. You know what I mean? I think it's nice to see us bounce back again. I know we got a little setback there, 1-1. We could have felt sorry for ourselves. They scored at a good time, and Liverpool went on there, and they've got the rocket up the arse and really kicked on and won the game. So, as much as it's uncomfortable to watch at times, and we're like, you know what I mean? Like today, I take loads from today, but the one player you should take loads from was Gravenberch, because he doesn't get on the pitch and he brings on a fucking bunch of kids that you never heard of. And I'll be sitting having a serious word with myself this week. That way, they are the week of training you've ever done. Do you know what I mean? So it's interesting, but maybe this is just us. I don't know.
See, are we the new Leeds from the 70s? Because that's a perfect description of Leeds in the 1970s. They were just scrappy, but they were bloody good at winning things.
Exactly.
I think that's partially. I do agree to a certain extent, and I think that's because, like Jamie's saying in the comments, I mean, there's so many people out. So many people have been out, right? So you've been constantly filling in this guy in left back, this guy over here, because constantly shuffling, that Mo goes, Ando goes and stuff. So that's partially, I think, part of it. Another part of it is, I think really is, and this is probably a decent percentage, I think it's psychological for us as fans. Because there were moments things did not click in the past as well. But we go into the season thinking, well, it's going to take some time to click. So whenever it doesn't click, we're like, see, it's not clicking yet. It's not like the other teams were like constantly clicking. I mean, we had some rough 10, 15 minutes where we were hanging on for dear life. And people were like, what is going on out there and stuff, right? So I think, but now when we watch it, we see those moments, we kind of tell ourselves, see, it's not clicking yet. Once it clicks, there's not going to be 1 minute in the game where we're not in cohesion kind of a thing. I think that's partially we're expecting it psychologically, so it kind of like translates to that. But I think up top, the biggest reason is we still have not found, we thought it was Gakpo for a little bit, Bobby. Like, and you probably won't because we always called him a unicorn. You just don't have that person that brings everything somehow together.
Is that because he made everybody horny?
I don't know if he made you horny. I'm not going to talk for everybody else. Sounds like he made you horny. I don't know what the hell that is. But...
It's 2024, fella. It's 2024. You do you, man. You do you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's that 70s porn music.
It is. He's got it in the chamber ready to fire.
Yeah, that's the first I've heard somebody saying like Bobby made him horny, but hey, you do you. But I think you're kind of like missing that, and I don't know, you're not gonna get that. So it's just a matter of that goes back to the same front three playing together for a while, and that really has not happened.
Brian, is this what we have to expect for Liverpool 3.0, as Jamie says? Or are we going to be looking at something different now when the new manager comes in?
I think a lot of it depends on what's going to happen to Mo. I mean, is what's Mo's decisions? Because I think that's going to change a lot of our perspective of how we're going to play in the future. Because if if Mo says I want to stay here and play instead of playing in Saudi Arabia or going somewhere else right there, then I think we're going to kind of see this formation stick around, which means that this midfield here has to come somehow gel. I think that one thing that's kind of we didn't think about too is that by not having Henderson in the midfield, which has a captain running the midfield right there, I think that we've lost a lot of that head, a lot of thought process and all that, because it's hard right there for a captain in the back, with Verge actually being captain in the defense right there, and still not missing that captain up in the front. Because one time, a long time ago, we had Carragher in the back right there, basically barking out our back line, and you still had Gerrard out there toward the front, barking out the front, toward the midfield, moving up. I think that the communicate and it falls under communication, knowing roles and where people need to be at. And I think that with this midfield right there, we need to go out there all together, get together and say, "Hey, this is your role. This is where you're supposed to play at. This is your thing, and don't trip over each other." Yeah. And I think that, and I think that when we're talking right there, I think that Gravenberch hasn't quite figured any of this stuff out yet. And, it's like I think I see a good player out of Gravenberch. I just don't see discipline, and I think that's a lot of the problems right there with him. It's like discipline on the pitch. But I think that we in the future, I think that once Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones and all these little pieces all get put together in the right thing, I think that Liverpool 3.0 does have tons and tons of potential. I think that this may be a case of us peaking a little bit early, but let's see what happens.
Just before we go, the last thoughts for all three of us. Obviously, all 3 points at this point are a good 3 points, but Cosy made the point before the match that we get through the next 4 games before we face City, and then we'll see what we're about. But what I was thinking during the game, and I want to see if you three lads agree, this team needs to win that Carabao Cup for the players who haven't won a trophy, because maybe that's in the back of their minds a lot of the time in terms of the pressure. And once they win that first one, the pressure's off, and then they can start to relax instead of having all that expectation on them. What say you?
I think, and that's fair, because I think when we were going for it last time, I think we were struggling a little bit. We win it, and then we just win every game. Even though we were just scrappy over the line, we were winning loads of games still. So there's a thing there. If you're these new players, like, I've made the right decision to come to this club to win trophies, that kind of stuff. But there's also a part of this where Trent might need it, and Van Dijk might need one, and go, what, just need to wipe that fucking monkey off me back from last year and just, get so Van Dijk first as skipper kind of thing. It could be something there as well. But if you look for today, Matt, right? Liverpool, I think Liverpool should have scored a couple more. So Liverpool, Darwin should score probably later on.
Yeah.
You know, Diaz, the keeper makes a great save for Diaz in the first half, blah, blah. Liverpool's two best players didn't play, which was Alisson and Salah.
Yeah.
Didn't play. And, and like Liverpool are still winning games. Liverpool's best player and Liverpool's most prolific goal scorer has not played for Liverpool for like 5-6 weeks, maybe longer. And we've won every game apart from Arsenal. Sorry, we drew with Fulham in the cup, but anyway, went through. So, you know what I mean? It's like, and we're still doing it, Max. So this team's like, but I agree with you what you're saying, but it gauges, it all comes to a head when you win that first trophy. But there's also a part as well of getting to the final so the manager's got something to lean on. So I always look back at the manager's first season when we lose in 2 cup finals and we lose to City and Seville in the Europa League. And I always think, well, at least when you get to the final, you lose to City, you can go, we'll beat these in a couple of years. And I think there's that kind of like, you know what, maybe he's onto something. Maybe he is onto something. It's that kind of stuff which believes mentality as well. Then Liverpool get to the final, we all know what happens against Seville. So there is that part as well. But Liverpool are very close to something immortal that no one will ever, like, you know, get the Champions League arguments. But to win 4 trophies in a season is to win every competition that you enter is insane. It's insane. To play a 60-odd games to win it, by the way, is insane. And we've been close before. We know we have, and we're going to have to die on perfect again. But I tell you what, mate, right? We haven't even got the best players back. We haven't even got the lads back. I can't wait until we get some lads back. I was looking there. We just won a Premier League game with Curtis Jones right back for 45. And a lad called Jarrell Kwanzaa. If you would have said to me 6 months ago, who is that? I'd say he was a doorman outside my local bar. I had no idea who he was. And we're winning games. It's just a freak, mate. And I'm so excited to see what this team can do this year.
Brian, what do you think? Do they need to win that trophy, or is it just the case? Well, I mean, if they do need to win a trophy, it's always a good thing. But for their mentality and for their belief in the manager and his reasons for bringing them to Liverpool Football Club, would it be such a big thing for the rest of the season if we don't win the trophy, let's say, which makes it doubly important?
I mean, I think the same thing right there. I think Trent, like I said, Trent and Verge need to win this right there, so they can say right there that let's take the past away. You know, it's the future right there for their captaincy and vice captaincy right there for them to win. It's very important. It's also very important for Kelleher to go out there to win, because I think that that's going to help him in his future of where he's going to wind up going right there. So I think that, you know, that's very important. I mean, because you got to figure there's some people in the squad right there probably won't be in the squad next year that are playing these matches. It'll be a good thing for them to go out there to go and be able to shop window themselves and, you know, to get themselves a better move. I mean, some of the kids right there, that if we can play some of the kids, a mixed group of these that to come off the bench, things like that, you know, it's important right there for all of them. But, you know, it's important for us, you know, to win that. I mean, that's another record time, a record right there for us winning the Carabao Cup. Continue on. So, I mean, so of course, you know, but again, Verge, Trent, and Kelleher right there. It's probably the most important for those 3 guys.
And the last words to the birthday boy himself. What do you think, Timuchin?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's like a huge morale boost. And, you know, yeah, it kind of like says, okay, here comes 2.0, you know, like starts probably for the captains, you know, get rid of the handle shuffle and do their own shuffle or whatever the heck they're going to do, lifting that trophy. And they're like 1 down, many more to go kind of attitude. I'm sure it's a huge boost in that sense. But honestly, like, I just look at this game today. These are all 3 points you got to get one at a time, man. I think everybody has this illusion of the City of the past and the Liverpool of the past, where they win every single game and stuff. I don't think City is the same team. I mean, you look at today. So everybody thinks it's going to be one game, us versus City, that's going to determine the title. I really don't think so. I think both of these teams are going to lose points along the way. So this would have sometimes been a game where we stumble and lose and draw at home and stuff like that and not get the points where we thought it was the easiest points on the schedule to get. So it's important to keep racking up these 3 points to build momentum. And I think Brian was saying it earlier in the show that I think, or maybe you were saying, Mika, about the playing every 3-4 days thing, especially when the squad is this deep, I think is going to benefit us over City. Because I really think, despite all these injuries, so all these guys coming back, you're going to get more depth. And I know, you know, sometimes 2 guys come in, 2 guys leave for injury and stuff, but still, you're going to have the same depth. So I think we have the upper leg when it comes to that. They're going to play Champions League. We're going to play Europa and stuff like that. So getting 3 points from these games one at a time is important, regardless of how the hell you get it and who plays right back and who's inverted or whatever.
So with that said, the final words for today will be good 3 points. We're still on track for everything we want to be on track for. If you want to hear more, make sure you're on Monday morning for the Monday Morning Coffee, sponsored by Reckless Coffee, which you should be buying from because they'll keep you awake. I believe. I don't know. I don't drink coffee.
That's why you awake for the show.
Is in the title.
I think Kazi needs it more than any of us. Where he lives at.
That's true. Yeah. I think he has an IV injected into him. And then the Monday night podcast, which will probably go in depth more into today's game, plus a lot of other things. And we'll obviously have our EPL panel show and our fantasy show and our Thursday night podcast and all the other goodies that we usually have during the week, as well as our Patreon. Which will be a big thing for us. You get to see me stuff as many donuts into my face. If you pay $150,000 in an hour, you can.
Yeah, we might have to raise the tiers to cover the donut cost.
Yeah, very happy he said face. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Let's not go stray beyond the unicorn comment there with the donuts. So we'll keep the family friendly.
All while looking at a picture of Bobby Firmino. Yeah,
with a donut.
It's listen to 70s porn.
Yeah, that's for the Patreon people. Only you guys get to see that. But make sure you like and subscribe if you're not smashing and liking that subscribe button or tapping it gently if you watch us on Thursday, and then you're just not one of the cool kids. And you always want to be one of the cool kids. So for the final time today, have a good weekend. Enjoy the week, and a big happy birthday to Timuchin for his 27th.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, and we're going to put the 80s porn music on because it's the 80s apparently. And I'm going to find some donuts and a picture of Bobby with a unicorn mask on. Peace out.